Let's go, boys. Welcome to the Greenhouse Gas Podcast. I'm joined here today with JD, Tob, and Brooks. Happy to have you guys listening. I'm going to kick it right off to our host, director, and real ringleader, JD Wessel.
I don't know if I've ever heard a podcast start without the host, but I think I like it. It's
I do too.
I like it. It'd switch it up.
It kind of just sets the tone for just the way this ought to be.
Winging it.
Winging it, but at the same time, just giving exactly what we want here. Just a good time, everyone getting together and
just guys being dudes.
Sharing some good knowledge.
Dude being guys.
You know what? I say we cut the crap here. It's the Greenhouse Gas Podcast. I say we get straight into the intros. I think everyone deserves to know the man to my left here. He's going to be my man to the left as long as this podcast goes, and I think that's going to be a real long time.
Bring them out.
Yeah, that's a good setup. I appreciate that, JD. I may be the man to your left, but I am also your right-hand man. You see what I did there?
Hey-o.
You see what I did there?
Whoa.
Thank you very much. The man to JD's left, also known as Brendan Tauber. Everyone calls me Tob, Tauber, Tobbs, Tauber.
Okay.
Anyway else, you could say Tauber, but no one calls me Brendan. It's weird. Anyway, this intro is getting a little long. I'm just the guy that likes to throw out my opinion without knowing a whole lot. But with that being said, I'm going to pass it right on over to my man, Brooks.
Wild card. I like it, Tob.
Hey, I'm sitting in front of Tauber, so you could say I'm your in-front-hand man.
Whoa!
Excuse me?
Nah.
Get your hand up from under that table, Brooks.
Hey, just gotta-
Come on now.
Hand check.
I'm Brooks, I'm glad to be here on the Greenhouse Gas Podcast. I kind of like how that sounds. Sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, it's got a nice little, almost
Nice
a rhyme
little
to
ring.
it.
Yeah, almost a little bit of a ring. Yeah, but anyways,
got
I'm Brooks.
potential.
Honestly, I'm just here to spit out stupid stuff. Like, I will just talk about nothing that no one cares about, and so.
A little bit like this intro. All right, Colby, what do we got over there?
And
Hold on.
I got a crippling ADHD conundrum going on in my mind, so I am just here for the ride. And I did say winging it earlier because I'm just winging everything here. And
Listen, here's my thing. Like, we start the podcast off saying two guys are winging it. Are we gonna get like
We're all
great
winging
dedication from the other two guys? Maybe we're the head of the table.
I really do think we're going to be the driving force.
I don't
You're the
care.
gas
I don't
pedal on
care.
the steering wheel, or maybe you're the steering wheel on the gas pedal. You
Okay,
just
okay.
let me know. But to the listeners and viewers eventually, my name is Colby Gomez. I about 6'5", 230 on a good day. So I'm just really happy to be here with my really, really good friends that I've known for years and years now. Glad we finally got this put together. Got a nice little setup down in my basement. So it took us about 4 hours to get everything hung up, and it looks like 4 24-year-olds did it, but it's a pretty damn good setup.
It's got Pat McAfee potential to it, like
Yeah.
the slim version or the light version.
It's like the Dollar General version, but yeah.
don't hype it up too much, or then they're gonna see it and just hopes out the window.
Yeah.
So it does look good though. Shout out to all of us.
I think it's good. Colby,
We put in 4 hours here.
I think you deserve the shout out for giving us this pad to work with. Like, it was a quick move in.
Let's give a shout out to the baby mama for letting me use the basement.
That's right, Big Daddy.
Big
Daddy over there.
She's got the upstairs, and I got the unfinished basement. So it's
Hey, but we're finishing her.
yeah.
Hey, we got
there.
the dartboard, ping pong table. Got the workout gym
Got a
over in
little
the corner.
big buck hunter down here as well.
Yeah, it's coming together well. Colby, thank you, sir.
Of course.
I'm very humbled and honored to be with you three. I think like what went through my mind when we first tried to dive into this was like, who's gonna be the amigos that I ask? It was always in the back of my mind like, there's got to be something here. There's got to be like, I want to get rolling on a podcast like just a couple guys around a table just like shooting the shit. And I think this is perfect. I'm JD Wessel. I'm your host, maybe the passenger seat. Colby's the driver here on the computer, on the house, on the whole setup. But no, I'm really excited for this, gentlemen. I think it's going to be a great ride. I think we'll be hitting the video portion in a week or two, just kind of getting the final steps going there. But I think this is going to be a good start here to to get diving on in. You know what? I say we get right into it.
Hey, before we get started, just quick shout out to our Instagram. We got a little contest going on right now for $50 to Shields, $50 to Lululemon.
Heyo.
And it's a super simple contest, and I swear it will be random. So.
And how can I get entered into that contest, that giveaway?
Great question, Tauber. Basically, you just go to our Instagram, Greenhouse Gas Podcast, and the rules will be on the picture we just posted. You'll see the giveaway with the Shields gift card. But how to enter, basically, you just have to follow us, gotta like the post, and then each person you tag, you can tag 50, you can tag 150, you can tag unlimited people, just as fast as your little thumbs can type. And that will be one entry per person that you put on there. And then the bonus entry, you can repost and tag us on your story, and that would just help us out a lot. So
hey, and you know what? Just so the people know, Tauber is going to be manually handwriting every single entry on a piece of paper, tearing it apart, putting it in a hat. This will be live on Instagram.
Wow, I didn't know about this, but
this is a new development. All right, new development. No, but guys, seriously, go take a look. Now here's my thing though. We got to give you a reason to want to follow the Instagram, to come back, to get more, to watch the podcast, to get crazy. Maybe check us out on Twitter. We got a lot of different links, but again, we got to give the people a reason. And I say we dive into our first topic here. First one, you guys brought it to my attention. We're going to go random story of the week. What would you do? What's going through your head? What's going through your mind? Got a report here in Miami at a mall. Got a report of an alien, said to be a 10-foot tall alien with, well, it looks like a handful of police. Like this was apparently no joke. You guys brought this up to me. I want to know what you guys would be thinking. First off, if you saw a 10-foot tall human, let alone an alien.
They already are an alien.
I mean, what's going through your mind in this situation?
I'm thinking, wow, that must be a Gomez in Miami. But second thought, I'm thinking, I mean, it's got to be an alien, right? We all saw the cops. I wish we had our TV to kind of show you guys a picture if you haven't seen it. But I mean, to have a turnout from that many cops, that's not something normal. And I mean, I think it's pretty ignorant to say that we're alone in this universe. I don't know if that's a solo belief from this podcast here. So I'm pretty bought in that it's an alien.
I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but you can look it up on anything. Just pretty much look up Miami Mall. I'm not kidding. There was probably like 150 cop cars. Like, it shut down the whole city. And then what they said is that it was a group of juveniles fighting with sticks. That's literally what they said, with sticks.
That is the most cover-up answer, like, police report that I've ever heard.
150 cop cars.
My question is, where does the alien play into this?
So the video that is like surfacing, and with technology nowadays, you can pretty much distort any video. But supposedly there's a figure, like a gray figure, that like kind of zombie walks its way out of the mall. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it was like an alien thing. I am a conspiracist, but like I've seen things where it's like they probably called some crazy threat to the mall, something. But even like a crazy threat is not gonna get 150 cop cars to a mall. Like
anyone with a badge in Miami was there.
No, literally, the video is shocking, like mind blowing, and I think it could have been just like a divert for like some people in Miami, like trying to get the cops like distracted and doing
come to find out, we're gonna see this live on we're gonna see a video on YouTube, like prank that pulls in 150.
Yeah, no, seriously. And
this is a setup for a bank robbery. 100%. Get all the cops on the opposite side of the city,
that's
and then go
saying.
rob millions of dollars from a bank on the opposite side of town.
That's what I'm saying, and I don't know. There's a lot of ways to look at it, but I cannot believe that they like came out and said it was a bunch of teenagers with sticks. Like, that's actually the report.
Well, that brings up a pretty good point too, what Colby said, like some sort of diversion, because when I see this stuff circulating on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that, I always look at the comments, and a lot of the comments say, I wonder what the U.S. government is up to right now and what they're trying to hide from us.
Quiet down now, Todd. They're listening.
Yeah. I won't make it to episode 2, but
you can only say that once about the government, all right? You know what? Listen, this story is like crazy, but like part of me thinks like 50 teenagers, okay, if they're all carrying sticks, something tells me they're not going to do anything pleasant with those sticks at the same time. Like, we're looking at, like,
150
robberies.
cop cars, JD, pulled up to that mall.
Listen, 50 juvenile. Sounds like they were shooting off fireworks.
I know, I did just read
know.
that, but that was not, like, the first thing they said. So, yeah, I get, like, if they thought it was a shooting with 50 kids there and fireworks, then, yeah, maybe the whole Miami squad would roll up. But, like, even then, like, shootings nowadays, wherever, like, the video is mind-blowing. Like, you just have to watch the video and then you can decide what it is.
it just keeps panning out. And the farther the camera gets out,
Yeah,
the more cops you see.
Now, when you say panning out, does it start with the alien just, like, does this alien just disappear?
No, like, the one video I saw is, like, a dude in his apartment above the mall, like, probably 20 stories up above the mall. Maybe not that. I don't know. And he's just zoomed in on, like, the mall, like, entrance with his phone. So he's pretty far, but, like, it's a pretty clear video of, like, a few cops. But then he just, like, keeps zooming out and then just, like, filming around on the streets. And, like, more cops are coming. There's already, like, 100+ cop cars outside of the mall. And then he just keeps filming, like, all these squads rolling up. It's just mind-blowing. Like, I don't know.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments, or just reach out to us. All of our Instagrams are on the Greenhouse Gas Podcast. So reach out to us. Let us know what you guys think. I think it's an alien, personally.
Really?
I want to believe it. I really do. Granted, am I probably going to choke these words once the bank robbery comes out? But
my thing is, like,
free
whenever stuff like this, like, oh my God, someone saw a Yeti, or like
Bigfoot.
They saw Bigfoot, or they saw like some unhuman like thing happen. There's never really like a whole lot of people like coming out saying like, this is a full description of it, here's a clear video of it. It's always those rundown videos, or like you said, Brooks, like some guy like 20 stories up. Yeah. Like, that's the type of guy that would get that video. And like, who's out of like 150 cops plus 1,000 some people at a mall, like, you're telling me one person isn't like, no, I saw this alien. Like, I want to see these reports of these people. Like, everyone has a phone. I think I'm out. I think I'm out on the alien. And actually the police, I mean,
you're like, what's wrong with the society today, JD? You just
giving in, huh?
Just
so locked in your own world. You don't give any thought to anything that might be spectacular or miracle.
Well, hold on now, JD. If you don't believe it's an alien, and let's just say it was these kids, do you think the response by the police, do you think it was, the right kind of response for what was actually reported on what was going on?
I think with like recent shootings or like recent mass events, like I think the 150 cops is probably a good call. Because from what the description says is like, these guys are like coming in like a riot, or like what was thought to be a riot of people. So that's my thought. Like, what are you're telling me these cops just threw a bag over this alien's head and just rushed him out the back door?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there.
Honestly, yes. Exactly.
Oh, I'm amazed. But hey, speaking of like conspiracies or like mystery drama, I think it's a good leeway into something that I'm excited to talk about. It's really just any show you guys want to talk about. My biggest show that I'm on right now is Blacklist. The Blacklist is what it's called. I'll give a quick little description. It's like a crime drama thriller, like kind of edgier seat type, classic like Netflix show where it's like you get to the end of episode 1, they leave you on a little cliffhanger. You gotta watch 2, right? You gotta maybe binge up a little bit, watch a couple episodes in a row. Essentially the story is about this. So this girl, is coming into the CIA, or FBI, excuse me, FBI. Her name is Elizabeth Keene. She's on her first day. And how the show starts is actually based off of a global criminal named Raymond Reddington. He goes by Red. I'll just call him Red. This guy's got a smooth way of talking. And this is why I love this show, is like the way he talks is so like sophisticated and kind of like, what does he really mean by that? What do you mean by that? And that's why I like it. So Red comes in, he gives himself up to the FBI, but he explicitly says, I only want to talk to Elizabeth Keene, who's the agent on her first day by chance. Now, my early theory is that he either knows her. He later released like he knew her dad. Her dad was like a running criminal.
Okay.
And so it kind of sparked up like, okay, this lady's in the FBI. Her dad was a criminal.
I like this vibe. I like this vibe.
It's kind of just suspenseful. So like he brings her in and he gives her all these leads. Like, okay, for example, this guy, he was a doctor and he had all these patients that were mostly women, is what I kind of got from it. So this doctor has these women that he brings in and they have like, let's say like, for example, like a broken wrist or like a messed up collarbone, punctured lung. They'd come in and be like, oh, doctor, I'm hurting. And you know how the show goes. Like the husband is like standing in the back, like giving her the mean eye, like the look, and the doctor notices. And the doctor, he's a serial killer, is kind of what I'm getting at here. And Red kind of gives them leads. He's like, okay, you need to look after this guy. In the FBI, they can't even put their finger on it. Just real suspenseful. And so the doctor in that case, he would take like the husband into his lair and like inflict the same injury.
Okay.
To
so
him.
kind of like Dexter vibes, right?
Yeah. So it's like a real suspenseful, and like I think the biggest part of it is like he gives these leads to these international criminals, but at the same time, he wants the access to still move around freely, and you kind of get the vibe of like, is he setting these up to like have these criminals caught, but also benefit him in the long run? Mm-hmm. It's one that I think you guys want to probably dive into. It's the thing about it is, just started it, still on season 1, like midway through season 1. There's 22 episodes per season.
How many seasons?
8 seasons.
Oh wow!
So it's one of those shows that you'll be watching a long time. So like it's one that you turn on every once in a while, and it's like kind of like it's like a new story every time you watch. So
it keeps you intrigued. I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna dive into my show here. So my favorite show of all time is The Fall of House of Usher. It is on Netflix. It is 100% my favorite show of all time. So basically what it's about, these two siblings, Roderick and Madeline Usher, they grow this ginormous pharmaceutical company. They come up with this drug that is essentially ibuprofen, but for every single injury possible. So you have a cut on your wrist or cut on your arm, whatever, you take this, heals it. You have a massive traumatic car accident or anything, you take this, your pain is gone. So basically what it is they build this entire empire off of, I'm trying not to give too much away because I don't want to spoil it because it is the best show of all time. Roderick has these kids and he basically buys them off of his baby mamas, and he's got multiple. They're all different sizes, shapes, everything. They go on this story and every single one of his kids die. His bloodline is just essentially killed off.
From all the different moms?
No. So that's the thing, is you have to watch the show to find out how it all goes down, why they all died, and how it ties back into Roderick and Madeline Usher. It is a fantastic show, a lot of twists and turns, thriller, like suspense. You think the show's going right, turns left on
Takes you right left. Okay.
It is the best show of all time. I highly recommend it. This is not a paid advertisement. This is just my strong opinion about The Fall of the House of Usher.
The Fall of the House. So you find it on Netflix, you said?
On Netflix, yeah.
How many seasons? How many episodes? What are we looking at there? Is it a absolute doozy or is it?
So there are 8 episodes in the whole thing, but they are pretty long episodes. I'd say probably 45, depending on the episode, 45 minutes to about an hour and a half. But it is locked in. I caught myself, normally when I'm watching a show, I'm on my phone, right? Just kind of scrolling through whatever it is, catching up on the trending news, right? I caught myself not looking at my phone one time, just locked into this show the entire time. It is a fantastic show. Watch it.
You know what? The way you described that really just drew me in. I think I'll probably take a look. So what you'd say, a lot of drama, action, suspense.
Drama, action, suspense, just things that.
Any death in there?
Oh, lots,
Okay.
but not. I wouldn't say
like not graphic though.
Well, some. So it is not for the faint of heart. Let's just say that it's from the same producer of that Horror on Hill House or Hill House something.
Those are good.
I gotta find out.
I think I was mostly roped into the fact that you said this guy's got like multiple baby mamas.
It's the same producer or director, whatever you want to call it, of the Haunting of Hill House. So it's that same kind of like, not super scary. Like, I'm not a big scary movie guy. I can't do it. Not a fan. This is phenomenal.
There's another one in that series too. It's like Bly House Manor or something like that.
Yep.
Those are all good. I haven't watched the. You said it's the House of Usher.
Follow the House of Usher. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't. I think I watched episode 1 on that, and then Netflix went ahead and cracked down on my account. Not in the right household.
Oh no.
But I guess I'll just go ahead and get right into my show. I think my top Netflix show of all time might be Ozark.
Ozark.
Have
Good
you guys
pick,
both
good
seen
pick.
that one?
That's a good pick.
I
man.
know Brooks is shooting some video for us right now.
Gotta love Ozark.
Kind of the jack of all trades, but Brooks actually, he put me on Ozark. And after episode 1, there was no really going back. I'm sure most of you listeners have seen it. If you haven't, give it a watch. But just to kind of touch on it a little bit, it's really just about this normal guy, normal family. He's a finance bro. I mean, he looks pretty well off. You can tell he's making some decent money. But it quickly kind of takes a turn, and it gets into a story about I guess a drug lord, you would call it, and how he is using these people to launder his money. The guy, his name is Marty Bird in the show. What's that actor's
Jason
name?
Bateman.
Yeah, Jason Bateman. I knew Brooks would
Jason
be hot
Bateman
with
is
it.
so good, man.
Any actor
He's
we
so
need to
good.
know, we just need to call on our guy
Yep.
Brooks, and
Call
he's
Brooks.
got it stacked in the memory bank.
I can see the sweat dripping off of Brooks's face, just like waiting to give his best Netflix show. Like he
I was
is just so ready for this.
Waiting for my opportunity.
But,
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, so I mean, the name of the show is where it also takes place. It takes place at the Lake of the Ozarks, and pretty much Marty Bird saves his own life by saying how much money he can launder at the Lake of the Ozarks. It's kind of hard to get into it really deeply without exposing a lot more about the show. But I'm not here to give you guys a trailer. If you want to give it a look, go ahead and check
Here's
out the
my
trailer.
thing with Ozark, though. Ozark to me was like a multiple episode dive. Like for the first like 5 episodes, I'm like, what is going on? I'm kind of confused, and I'm kind of like not really into this.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when it gets on to where they start the action, I'm like, okay, this is good stuff. But like the
get
first
sucked
couple
in.
episodes, I'm like, what is going on here?
I agree with that. And then you get into the last season, and you're kind of like, it lost its flair a little bit, I think, in the
Yeah.
last season.
They got lazy.
They got lazy. It got kind of soft. I
And
think
what-
they got a little soft.
It just ended in like a lazy way. Like
Yeah.
they just didn't want to. I don't know. Like they could have done a spin-off even, and they might still. I don't know. Because like the ending, there's so many questions to be answered. I feel like they just kind of got lazy and just. You gotta watch the last episode. It kind of just.
And
pissed
was it
me
just
off.
me, or like was the lighting a little bit off in that show?
Oh, it was definitely like a Twilight, like blue.
Which
hue.
you know, that's probably what they were going for.
Yeah.
but
Definitely.
I think it's
just
just like
watching
the
that, I'm kinda
cloudy
like-
Branson, Missouri vibe, like white trash. Like you kind of just. It was like
Yeah,
every single
it was.
person, and shout out Lake of the Ozarks, love it. But there are
Yeah.
some strange fellow people down there, but nicer than heck, you know. But going off of that, I do love Ozark. I love any type of drug lord movie, show, Narcos, Breaking Bad, all of them.
Breaking Bad, dude. Top 5, not 5.
No, for sure. I mean, I could go on and on, but I kind of, at the end of this episode, I kind of had a little spin-off of what we were going to talk about for kind of like, a little, not controversial at all, but like talk about kind of more about what would you do, because I just watched a show last night and it just kind of blew my mind. But
Based off a true story, or is it
yeah, very true story, like super accurate, well done. It's nominated for a Golden Globe. Yeah.
Global Globe.
Global Globe. No.
You know what I
Golden
find
Globe
funny
Award.
about those is like, it's like a book, for example. Like a book just comes out and it's like #1 best-selling book in
New
America.
York
It's like, wait a
Times.
minute, hold on. How many #1 best-selling books can there actually be?
Nah, Golden Globe's legit. So it's a great. It's a movie though, but I'll get onto that later on.
Well,
towards
do you
the
want to
end of the
dive into
podcast.
that now? Because that sweat is still dripping off of you.
I'll hang on to it. But
Okay.
are we just saying favorite shows pretty much? Kind of like
Favorite
what we've
shows.
been.
Just give a show for the people to want to
Well,
watch.
I mean, my top favorite show is Breaking Bad, or I'm honestly a Game of Thrones guy, and I'll probably get hate for that, but like, I was not into dragon, magic, slayer, all these like sci-fi type of medieval type of things, but my friend, shout out Brady out in Utah, he got me.
Shout out Brady.
He got me hooked on Game of Thrones because I was like, I had a sore thumb about it. Like, he was starting to watch it. He was starting House of Dragons, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll give it a shot. And House of Dragons is before Game of Thrones, and I was like, bro, I do not understand any of this. Like, I feel like I have to watch Game of Thrones. And then we were like, okay, and I'm not kidding. I think I want to say there's like 13 seasons, and each season has 10 or so episodes, and they're all like an hour long. And it was during, I don't even know, it was just, I was bored, and I watched it in like 3 weeks.
So is Game of Thrones?
Unfortunately to say, but it just hooks you. Like,
Wait. If
you
we do
not-
the math here, so we do like,
I'm not kidding. There were some days I would just sit there and watch episode after episode after episode, because like my school was online.
yeah.
I graduated.
So is yeah, still graduate. Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Just wanted to make that point.
yeah.
So is Game of Thrones like still coming out with new episodes?
No, it's done. This is
It's
it
final.
started in like probably 2009. I want to say,
Because
like,
I remember
years
like
ago, but it took
a couple years ago there was some hype around it. Like, when
That-
did they
that's 'cause-
finish
That's
up?
because House of Dragons came out.
Oh, okay.
And that is like before Game of Thrones, and how Game of Thrones came to be. It's all about the kings and whatever before the kings of Game of Thrones. And I don't know, like, you just have to, no offense to people who watch stuff like that, but like, you kind of just have to like embrace the nerd in you, and just, because like, I've never been a Harry Potter guy, never seen Star Wars. I know, kill me, but
Wow.
but Game of Thrones just will rock your world. I could start crying right now.
I can't tell if those are tears or sweat, Brooks. Oh,
It's
that's
a
good
mixture
stuff.
of both.
Well, I think for people tuning in, they probably weren't expecting us to not hit on sports right off the rip. But we kind of want to make this podcast a little bit more than just talking sports.
We want to incorporate everything.
You know, there's plenty of different shows that only talk sports. We want to give a little season blend into there, if I may. I think it's probably a good time we leeway into some sports here. We got some juicy events going on. We just had the college football playoffs finish up. Go Blue.
What an ending.
Yeah.
What an ending to
What a
those playoffs.
playoff.
That was crazy.
What a great Final Four ending for, like, you know, we're going into the 12-team format.
Yeah.
That was a great Final Four.
That was a great send off.
That was probably the best
of
of the 4-team playoff so far.
That we've
Like,
seen
it was the
so
most
far, yeah.
well balanced.
I think
especially because they just were like, "Screw you, Florida State. You don't deserve to be here." And
yeah,
just
they
pulled
finally
them
gave
out.
the nod to, like, probably 4 of.
Yeah, like when they.
I mean, Georgia, you could probably argue, but like
when
4
they,
of the top
yeah,
teams.
Oh, for sure. And when they last year when they let TCU in, like, everyone knew. I mean, that was shocking when they beat Michigan, honestly. But
Yeah.
like, TCU versus Georgia, that's like David and Goliath, and it's like.
But really, it felt like anyone against Georgia.
Yeah, that
Didn't
was
stand a
Georgia's
chance.
year. But I mean, they barely beat Ohio State. Anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great 4-team.
But no,
playoff.
so we had the playoffs for college football. We got NFL playoffs right around the corner here. NBA, college basketball is kind of heating up. It's kind of getting to that point where
get into March.
Yeah.
You spend all the hours like, oh, I'm gonna watch this team play on a random Tuesday to get tournament ready, like just to watch them so I can pick them to go deep. They'll be the first team out on the round of 64. But,
Shout out Purdue.
yeah. We kind of dove into it. Let's just get right back into college football. I think we do a little wrap up of like what we saw, kind of what's to come. Again, that 4-team playoff, you had Michigan as the 1 seed. You had Washington as the 2. And then what was it? You
Texas,
had
3.
Texas 3, and then it was Bama 4. That let's dive into that Michigan-Alabama game. That game was unbelievable. That was
a crazy game.
I'm huge on Michigan's run game, and
Big time run game.
they
Smash Mouth.
they made 2 of the top 4 teams in the nation look silly, especially in that national championship game. But that Bama game going to overtime, it was one of the, and then you get Milroe like goal line stand. Oh, that was a special game.
I don't know if I like that play call though.
That last play.
I don't think it was designed.
I don't know. I just think it was game on the line, and you're gonna do a QB drop the middle, and I don't even know if he made it back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are on the same boat. I know a lot of Alabama fans are in the same boat. You have thousands and thousands of plays.
And correct me if I'm wrong, they took a timeout right before that, didn't they?
Yeah, before.
I want to say they took 2 timeouts. Because I think Michigan took one, and then Bama took one. So they had like a solid 5 minutes to draw up a Jalen
QB
Milroe
draw.
QB draw.
Yeah.
Low snap.
Now, like you said, Brooks, was it designed?
No.
Who knows? I mean,
There's no way.
there's no way Nick Saban.
There's no way Nick Saban, shout out, go.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But there's no way he calls that with Jalen Milroe.
I think he retired because of that play.
Literally.
Oh my God.
That was the most embarrassing thing of his career.
Did you guys see Deion's tweet?
What'd he say?
Deion Sanders tweeted, you really got to dive into it. Like, he tweeted, like, goodbye to the GOAT. He practically, let me go find it, but, like, he practically summed it up and said, like, NIL is what ran this guy out of college football. Which you could kind of argue that in a way. I mean, like,
He was a big advocate.
if you want a
for
reason,
not
that could
doing
be a
it,
reason.
though. He was a big advocate for how it's ruining the game, how it just changes so much. I know at the very beginning he said that he didn't want anything to do with it. Now times have changed. You're getting guys that are transferring to 4 different schools, making $2 million at each school. Like, the NIL changed so much with the college football game, and I don't mind it, honestly. Coming from a former athlete, like, obviously I wish I was still in school right now making that NIL money, especially for those big name dudes like Dylan Raiola come to Nebraska. That's a huge win for Nebraska, but I guarantee you it costed an arm and a leg to get him here, right? Like,
yeah.
I know he said his home is where the heart is, which I do believe his heart is here in Lincoln, Nebraska, but I don't know. There's a price to pay for everything now.
Home is where the money is.
I have a
At this
pretty
point,
crazy
yeah.
story about Raiola, and it actually ties to Frost too. And it goes off of even the home is where the heart is. Rumor on the street is that Raiola actually had a in-home visit with Frost, and Frost got a little too crazy on the golf course, threw down a little too many birdie juices on the golf course, and he actually told Raiola that he wasn't going to be able to make the home visit because he got a little bit too slammed. And so he couldn't make the home visit. Raiola, obviously you don't want to go to a program where the coach is too hammered to show up and recruit you. So that's just what I've heard. You know, it could be a rumor. It could be true. There's a lot of rumors that circulate about this kind of stuff. But it is interesting to see Frost is not out of the picture. Obviously, we got Matt Rule, the GOAT. I think he's bringing Nebraska back. And he's also bringing Raiola back, which is huge for Nebraska. You know, you watch a team the whole year, all we're hearing is we need a quarterback, we need weapons. We got this, I mean, dare I say, national championship level defense with just really no weapons on offense to keep our defense off the field.
I agree, man.
I completely agree with that.
But I also don't want to get too sidetracked from this college football playoff.
I mean, listen, playoff is definitely in the future for Nebraska. I think probably right around the corner.
12-team playoff is huge.
Knock on wood. Knock on
Let
wood.
me. I had the tweet like sizzling in my hand here. Like my hand is sweating. My phone's about to fall off my hand.
We see the sweat
JD's
from
talking
Brooks.
about sweat all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sweaty guy.
Listen, this we might need a fan up in this.
Brought to you
up
by
in
Gold
this
Bond.
mix. Yeah, brought to you by Gold Bond. So Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, he says, so he tweets this today after the news. Wow, college football just lost the GOAT to retirement. Talking about Nick Saban. For those that don't know, Nick Saban announced his retirement, leaving the University of Alabama. A lot of coaching rumors. We'll probably hop into a couple of those, couple names in the mill. Colby, I know you're probably shaking in your boots over there for your other college team, but back to the tweet. Wow. I knew it would happen one day soon, but not this soon. The game has changed so much that it chased the GOAT away. College football, let's hold up our mirrors and say, honestly, what do you see? Kind of a cryptic message there from Deion. Wasn't there a couple of rumors about Deion going to the SEC?
Was there?
Well, I think that was like,
mill.
I think that was a lot of people just being like, Colorado's not good enough for Deion, and Deion deserves more. That was when Deion got off to his flaming hot start this season, but
I like Deion. Honestly, I think what he does for the game, it like brings a little bit more fun. And I do think he's spot on with why Nick Saban left. I truly do think NIL is a huge picture of that. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know the guy personally, obviously, but I do think Nick Saban is like an old school, like foot in the dirt, like just hard-nosed worker, right? And he instills that in every single team that he's got. That's why he's been so dominant for however long he's been there. He's a winning guy. He always will be. It is sad to see him go. I don't want my guy Dan to head down there. I got reports that he's in Tuscaloosa.
Dan Lanning, Oregon head coach, for those that don't know. Oregon head coach.
He is going to Bama.
He's built a fantastic thing out there in Eugene, and I really, as a fan, a little bit biased, but I do hope he sticks around because they were one win away from the college football playoff. Granted, Washington, fantastic football team. It is a hard thing to do to beat a damn good team twice.
Yeah,
I do agree, but I think Oregon, sorry Colby, but I do think it's a stepping stone for big time programs.
I agree.
Really?
I mean, I think Oregon is a big time program, but like it's just a stepping stone. Like,
okay, but that might get us into our next topic of kind of the new landscape.
Yeah,
you
I
got
think
all
with
these
them
teams
going
joining
to the Big
Ten.
Ten, I think they're gonna I think they're right there to not be a stepping stone. Obviously, they're ahead of like the Texas Techs of like a good coach goes to Texas Tech, he's gone in 3 years.
Brooks, do you think Oregon gets all the hype they do because of their Nike deals?
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think why, if you're a head coach at Oregon with NIL booming right now, why do you leave Oregon?
Thank you.
I mean, you really look at it. You look at it as a business. You look at it with Nike backing you. I mean, this year, if you guys didn't know, this was the first year that a non-Nike team was in the national championship. Am I wrong on that? I saw that stat.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
saw that.
but I mean, it was Jordan and Adidas. Like Jordan, come on, that's pretty much Nike.
I mean, yeah, that counts.
Is this really a battle of the brands?
Yeah, dude.
When it comes down to the money and it comes down to the NIL, I'm just saying I'm not leaving Oregon.
Like, think of the kids getting recruited right now. Like, what 12-year-old kid grows up wanting to wear Adidas?
Yeah.
Not a single kid. Maybe Nebraskans, because they're like, oh, I want to be like Nebraska football players. But like anywhere else in the world is gonna be wearing Nike. And like, I mean, Nebraska was the first college ever to be sponsored by Adidas, because it was like Reebok, which was the big one, and then everyone kind of parted ways, and a lot of them went to Adidas or Under Armour. I mean, Under Armour is just
Enough with the brands. Dan, don't leave Oregon. it's going to be just like, what is it, Mike Riley, who went from Oklahoma,
Oh my
great
gosh.
thing there, goes to USC, struggling.
Did you just
Lincoln,
mention
that was
Lincoln Riley.
Or
Lincoln
Lincoln Riley.
I think
Sorry,
Mike
Lincoln
Riley is currently in a retirement home.
Lincoln Riley.
He
My
went from
apologies.
Lincoln
There's way
down to a retirement
There's
home.
way too many Rileys out there. Lincoln Riley left a good thing, thought it was thought grass was green on the other side.
I do agree, but when you're offered a $6 million house for your paycheck, I mean, it's hard to not live
And a
in
private
Southern
jet.
Money
California.
talks.
But I guess on that, I would probably pick, if I were a coach in college football, I think I'd play for Bama. I
would
think
too.
I'd go and coach for Bama.
But also, I do see what Topper's saying. Like, why would you leave Oregon? But I don't know. I don't know why. With like them moving to the Big Ten, I don't know why you would leave Oregon. But Dan Lanning, every head coach of Oregon has said that in the past, are like, I'm not leaving Eugene. Like, my family loves it here. Money talks. Like, they're gonna go where money is, and if Bama can offer. It's just got to be so much easier to recruit to a place like Bama than Oregon. And I get Oregon has done phenomenal with recruiting, but like the dynasty Bama has built over the last 20 plus years, like,
Does that leave with Saban though?
yeah, I don't know.
Dynasties fall.
Yeah, for
Dynasties
sure.
fall.
Like Clemson, they're kind of falling, but I mean, they'll be right back up, I'm sure. But I've heard it goes like Lanning is the number one bet to land in Bama, and it's like Dabo Sweeney. But the odds is like Lanning plus 450, and then
Did you guys see the numbers on like coach buyouts? Like if they were to leave the buyouts, Dabo Sweeney $60 million buyout. Wow.
But it just like goes to show like programs do not care. Like these programs have unlimited money. Like it does not matter. Texas A&M even, who was a stepping stone, who pretty much still are a stepping stone. Like when Jimbo Fisher took that job for that much money, it blew everyone's mind. Like A&M has honestly never been that relevant. Like they had the number one recruiting class of all time, which
for
were probably
like 4 years in a row,
it was
and
like
they couldn't make a
22
bowl game.
5-stars, and it was like it doesn't matter. Even a program like Texas A&M who isn't up there, but like still has crazy money. Like just think of how much money Bama has.
Yeah.
But then that just goes back to the whole NIL thing. Like if we're paying coaches $60 million to get fired, why can we not pay college quarterbacks $2 million to come be the star of the campus?
Well, you see, and they've been kind of discussing that, but like at the same time, like it's about to be full on NFL football at this point.
I kind of like
that's
it.
really kind of what it's gearing towards.
I kind of like it. I think it adds hype. I think it adds conversation and debate. And I mean, we've said it multiple times already on this podcast. Money talks. And if I'm an 18-year-old kid and I'm looking at two schools, and one school says you're going to be our starting quarterback, and then the other school says you're going to be our starting quarterback, and we're also going to give you $2 million. I don't care where that school is. I'm taking the $2 million. I'm taking my starting job. And I might transfer the next year. I might do it.
That's the sad part about it is normally you would go because you had a strong connection with that coach, right? You had you had like homegrown kid played at Nebraska. I didn't want to go anywhere else other than Nebraska, right? That was my ties. Darren Erstad, still the best coach and one of the best MLB players, baseball players ever, right? The dude was the most down-to-earth, genuine guy, and I loved it. That was the biggest driving force why I went to Nebraska. I wish, like, when you get NIL and you get money in there, money does talk. I get it. I wish it would go back to just the right feeling, like that gut feeling. I want to go here instead of chasing that $2 million.
Yep.
And then let's just say you go there, you absolutely hate the coach. Yeah, you made some money, but you're miserable doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So, like,
and
you
Matt
gotta-
Rule talks about that quite a bit. Like he wants, and you know, every coach will probably sit up on the stand on the podium and be like, we want this to be the right fit for our guys. Like you've heard it before. I think the thing with Rule is like that guy is so good with his words, and everything that he's said so far has been so meaningful, and like in some aspects he's delivered on most everything that he's talked about. Like he's really put an extra foot out the door to go recruit, get a guy like Raiola, get a ton of transfers coming in.
That Florida, that like 300-something pound
The offensive
guy from
lineman that
Florida
committed
who
it,
is
yep.
a bare knuckle fighter, according to his coach, is awesome.
Did you see the video of
Yeah.
him actually fighting that Tennessee player?
Yes,
That
that's
was sick.
I haven't seen that.
it's the
He
coolest
like
thing
actually
ever.
squares him up in the backfield, and they like go at it with helmets on and look like complete idiots, but he looks like a fighter.
Did he win?
They have helmets on, so
Okay, fair.
It was more like put him up.
yeah, they were just squaring up,
Put
but
him
he
up.
looked like
It was somebody like, hold me back, hold me
he
back,
had that one.
hold me
two,
back.
he had that 1-2 Mayweather locked, ready to
3-4
go.
McGregor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think that was good talk on like NIL, kind of a little wrap on the season and like what to expect for next year. We didn't necessarily dive into like the conference realignment. I think when it comes time for that during football season, we'll get a good scoop on like really what we can expect, kind of how schedules look, and what players are coming back, what coaches are going to be in the mix at this point. I think it's a good leeway for us to get a little talk into the NFL. Brooks, I know you're not huge on it, but I think you could at least attest to the fact that NFL playoffs are indeed here. And when it comes right around the New Year time, that's when NFL playoffs are in. And man, I am excited. I'm excited for these playoffs. I think like there's so many questions with a lot of these teams. Tauber, I already know you're itching to talk about your Steelers.
I'm sweating over here. I'm sweating, JD.
So let's at least give the people. You guys can pull it up at home if you want. We have a NFL bracket here. Man, we got some good games. We got some in-conference games. We got a couple bye weeks for the 1 seeds, 2 1 seeds that are looking like some runaway favorites maybe.
Oh, yeah.
We'll run you down here quick. Over in the AFC, you got Baltimore, the 1 seed. You got Houston as the 4 seed playing Cleveland. You got Kansas City as the 3 seed against Miami Dolphins. And then on the bottom here, Tauber, your game of the week probably. You got 2 seed Buffalo playing Pitt.
The Stillers.
Gosh, he's huge on the I'm not too enamored by the Steelers, but over in the NFC here quick, you got San Francisco 1 seed. You got Tampa Bay hosting Philly 4 and 5 matchup. You got Detroit as a 3 seed playing Los Angeles Rams 6 seed, and then you got 2 seed Dallas playing Green Bay. Guys, do you guys have any games that stick out to you?
Yeah.
Tauber, I think you're ready to.
I'm
to
thinking
give us
that
yours.
Pittsburgh game is really standing out to me, JD. I really think, the Steelers, they haven't been the most fun to watch this year. I think, getting Rudolph as our quarterback now, maybe it's a Christmas miracle. Maybe we just found our guy. But, diving into more of the game, and specifically the Steelers, I'm thinking I like them. I like them against Buffalo. I'm not really sure what the line is right now, so I can't really just toss out my pick. It probably would be the Steelers. But I'm thinking we got Rudolph, and he's actually thrown to the ball to my guy, George Pickens. We've had 3 quarterbacks now. We had Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, finally Rudolph. And he's the only guy that seems to be throwing the ball to Pickens. And I just don't know how those other 2 quarterbacks aren't giving Pickens targets. In his first 2 games with Rudolph, he had I think it was 150 yards a game just with the new quarterback, and they look like a whole new team. Their defense has been good all year, and I don't want to turn this into the Steelers podcast, but that's my pick. That's my pick. I think they're winning. I think they're winning round 1 against Buffalo for sure.
Really? So
I don't know.
You got the round 1 upset at Buffalo. Probably maybe some snow in there, Tauber. Might
hope
be a
it
little
is.
chilly, brother.
I hope it is snowing.
I know Pittsburgh gets chilly, but Buffalo's a whole different unit there.
The biggest one that really pops out to me is going to be the Eagles versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that is going to be a fantastic back and forth football game. I think the Eagles, they got something to prove. I don't know if they're just dogging it, just giving we're just laying down, and then just boom, in the playoffs they're right back to where they were. I think Jalen Hurts is a dog. I think I got Eagles. I got Eagles beating the Bucks, but I do think it's going to be a very, very close game.
Give me that Baker Mayfield action there. Baker Mayfield, let him cook up in the playoffs. Show some of that college ball talent again, huh?
Let me give my 2 cents here. I know I don't really watch too much NFL. It's pretty boring, can't lie. But the one game that I turned on and kind of watched a lot was Cleveland and Joe Flacco. And
You sick, man. That's what I was going to go for, but
I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
on,
sorry.
go on.
I have nothing to say, so you can add all the stats and all the players and what they're going to do
Okay.
in the game. But they look solid, and I like a solid team. And, they normally suck. And so I'm just, shout out Browns. I really don't know about NFL, but I honestly think they beat Houston. And who would they play next?
well, it would depend on who wins.
Versus who?
So it'd be like, it'd either be like, let's say Pittsburgh did win. Pittsburgh would play Baltimore. Because like Baltimore would play the lowest remaining seed.
Okay, yeah,
is
yeah,
how
yeah.
they do it. So there's a couple teams in the mix. So it'd either be Buffalo or Kansas City, essentially.
JD, can you, for the listeners, I'll go ahead and walk you through this as he's doing it, but can you zoom in on that top right corner right there of that Super Bowl logo?
Oh, hold on. We have a hidden gem.
So there's a
Easter
little bit of
egg.
a Easter egg,
Easter
rumor,
egg.
whatever you want to call it. But we're looking at the Super Bowl logo here, and there's a rumor going around that
Tauber's been big on this.
for the last 10 years, I've been huge on this. I actually just heard this at work, but there's a rumor going around that the Super Bowl logo has predicted the 2 teams that make the Super Bowl for the last 10 years. And we're zooming in here on the Super Bowl logo, and it is currently a purple and red logo. And I think you look at these teams here, and you got Baltimore and San Francisco both as the 1 seeds. And what color are they, guys? Looks to be purple and red. And I mean,
Purple and red.
you got San Francisco, you got Buccaneers. They're both obviously red teams, but there's only one purple team, and it's Baltimore, and they got the MVP quarterback in them. I think Baltimore, I hate to say it because, they're going to have to go through the Steelers. I think they're going to end up on top. And honestly, I'm going to do an early prediction here and say Baltimore's going to take it all this year. I think Lamar's winning the MVP. I think he's winning the Super Bowl MVP. And obviously, he's winning the Super Bowl.
Is that your future lock? Future lock?
That's my future lock.
Future lock. Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore looks good.
That red is looking quite orange when you consider Joe Flacco being the starting quarterback for the Browns. And
Who would they
that's all
play on the other side? If the Super Bowl logo tells all, who would the
It's
purple
gonna
team
be
be?
Cleveland versus. You could say Detroit sometimes looks purple.
Okay.
Dude, are
That's
you
a-
colorblind?
You'd go Cleveland versus Detroit? Is like who
Could
you
you
actually
imagine?
think?
That's what I'm saying. Like, could you imagine? And I feel like right now, the last year of sports, like Texas Rangers versus Diamondbacks,
Yeah, that was a sleeper.
Washington versus Michigan. Like, I know like Michigan's always relevant, but Washington versus Michigan, and it was the last year of the Pac-12, so like they had to put Washington in there. You got to go with 2 of the worst teams in the NFL of all time, Cleveland and Detroit.
You like that matchup,
Lock.
huh?
That is my future lock. You heard it here first. Cleveland versus Detroit.
Future lock.
Coming from the
Hey,
guy
hey,
who doesn't watch NFL
There is one
football.
matchup that I
Guys, it doesn't matter what you watch.
There's
It's-
one matchup I really want to watch, and like, I'm actually glad no one picked it. It's the Rams versus Detroit. Brooks, I know you got Detroit going deep, and you know what? That would be a intriguing Super Bowl.
To say
Now
the
Rams
least.
versus Detroit, though, you get that Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff. They flipped teams.
Yeah.
And I am big on that. And I think like the Rams, they have such a young core. They got a good group of guys. Defense has been mid this year, but that's one of the games I think, playing in Detroit, you're going to get a rowdy Detroit. I saw tickets for the wild card game, highest in the playoffs. It's like $400 a ticket, like anywhere in the stadium. In Detroit.
Ugly.
Dude, I think the script writers, they got it right this year, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you
this
talked
is a
about
juicy playoff.
Goff, Stafford, swapping teams. How about over here in Miami and Kansas City, though?
Oh my gosh.
We got Tyreek Hill squaring off against the Kansas City Chiefs again. I mean, that's something to bring to the table there. The scriptwriters are doing great this year. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see all the controversy that comes with the playoffs. Everything that Vegas brings to the table.
Oh yeah,
and we all know what I'm referring to when I say that. We all know, right? I'm talking about the lines. I'm talking about the referees. I mean, you saw it in Detroit against Dallas. I mean, how about that? I really think the Lions won that game.
Yeah, that was a
controversy call.
That was a ball buster at the end.
For those of you that didn't see, I'm talking to you, Brooks.
Yeah. No,
I think that second round rematch would be pretty good though if Dallas and Detroit made it. Okay, here we go. Let's wrap up this segment. You got to give your two teams who's playing in the Super Bowl. Brooks, we already know yours. Say it again.
Cleveland Browns versus the Detroit Lions.
That's nasty.
And Jared Goff played for Pac-12 Cal, and so they're just going to keep this script rolling. Not sure why or how, but it's going to happen.
What script with Cal?
Jared Goff.
Colby?
I like Brendan's theory. I mean, there's facts to back it up. I have to go with the 2 number 1 seeds. I know that's. I mean, it's.
What are you, 12?
I might be.
Next, he'll tell you he's a San Francisco fan.
No, I'm going Baltimore and San Francisco in the chip.
Good. Who wins though?
Oh, I think San Francisco didn't play the game that they normally play. I think they got absolutely curb stomped. But I'm still gonna go with Baltimore. I do think they're the better team. I think it's a close matchup, but I got Baltimore going the distance.
Todd, what do you got, man?
I'm sticking with Baltimore. I think they're winning it all, dude. Whether they square up against San Francisco or Tampa, who knows? But I'm sticking with the purple and red. I'm going off the logo. I'm taking it to the bank. Taking out a loan, a mortgage, student loans. I'm going to say I'm going back to school. I'm dropping it all on Baltimore. And that's with Monopoly money, of course.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. But who are they playing, though? San Francisco? Are you doing the Super Bowl logo?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the logo. The more I look at it, I think Tampa Bay could have a pretty easy route. I knew that I was going to get some laughs out of this, but, I mean, the Eagles haven't looked good recently, honestly. And I know Tampa, they just finished their last game like 9-6 or 9-3 baseball score of a game. So it's really tough to throw him in there. I am a Baker fan. I like the energy he brings, but I mean it's hard to go against San Francisco and
going with the 1 seeds, the favorites. Make it easy. That's like March Madness. Just pick all the 1 seeds and see what happens.
Exactly.
You know what? I'll wrap it up here. I'm gonna go. Give me a struggling at the start of the season Buffalo team, but they have turned on the trigger here. New offensive coordinator. You got run game going good. Stephon Diggs has been an absolute letdown thus far, but their defense is rock solid, and I like a rock solid defense in the playoffs. I'll go Buffalo out of the AFC. Over in the NFC, man, there is a lot to like there. Like you guys said, though, Philly is like one of those teams that's boom or bust. They're big time boom or bust. Like they could either lose to Baker on the road, or they could go the whole damn way. Like you really don't know what Philly team you're gonna get. NFC, give me. I want to go San Francisco. I'm gonna go San Francisco. They top to bottom best roster in the NFL, no doubt. I think a lot lies on Brock Purdy and what he does. That's all I'm gonna say. I think your Super Bowl champ, San Francisco 49ers. They're gonna take it pretty easy in that Super Bowl. I think Buffalo gets shut down by that defense.
Do you have a way too early score prediction for that game, JD?
Oh my gosh. 34-20. 34-20.
Wow, that is bold.
I'm big on it.
I like it. That was a good little sports segment. Kind of want to, don't want to steal your shine here, JD, but do want to toss it over to Brooks. He does have the closing segment for us.
And
Brooks,
he's sweating again.
Are you?
I am dripping sweat right now. I am nervous.
You swept something on the rug here.
No,
What's the segment?
I've been kind of itching to talk about this, and I know we'll talk about it pretty quick here because We don't want to keep you guys for too long, unless you guys are just podcast listeners and you love just listening to gibberish. But anyways.
Yeah, like you're laying right now in your love sack, just like cuddled up, just by
comfy.
the fire, like.
Oh my gosh, that sounds great.
Listening to a podcast.
That sounds
Watching
great.
Ozark.
Oh.
Wait, you can't watch a show and listen to a podcast.
Nah, you're good. You're good. ADHD. Anyways, so when we were talking about the Netflix shows, something popped into my head, and I watched a movie last night. It's called Society of the Snow, and it's kind of a new release on Netflix. I actually think it just recently dropped, and it's about, I don't know if you guys know the story, but it's about this plane crash in, I want to say it was in between Chile and Argentina. It's about a rugby team from, gosh, why can I not remember? I think they're from Chile, I want to say. Anyways, they're in a plane and they're going to a rugby match in Argentina. Oh no, sorry, way off the mark here. I just pulled it up, my bad. Obviously I didn't watch the movie, but it's a Uruguayan flight, and it was chartered from Montevideo, Uruguay to Santiago, Chile, and it crashed in the Andes Mountains on October 13th, 1972. There were 45 people on board. It crashed just because the co-pilot was at the controls at the time, and he was actually being trained by the pilot, and I guess he lost his way into the mountains, because those mountains are massive. Like, I'm talking, they tower over the Rocky Mountains of North America, and they kind of just clipped the top of a mountain and broke off in half. This is a true story, by the way. Extremely accurate, true story. You can look it up. Broke off in half. The front half of the plane slid down the mountain and ended up in the valley in like just a mound of snow. And the other half broke off, flew however far away, and I think 3 people from the crash died immediately. And then when the plane came to a stop, they were going downhill at 220 miles an hour in a sled, pretty much. Wow. Of a half of an airplane. So when they stopped abruptly, it just squished pretty much a lot of them. So I think of the 45, like, I think originally, like, I want to say 29 survived, maybe.
So they took on the Black Ski Mountain then? Yeah,
literally the Black Diamond, double Black Diamond. Sorry. But anyways, so it ends up there's like, they're kind of dying off slowly, one by one, either from prior injuries from the crash or just literally freezing to death. Like, I think because it was in the summertime of South America, because it was October, southern hemisphere, they have opposite weather, and so the days were like above freezing, but they're on top of a mountain, and so the nights it was getting down to like -15, -20, and they would just literally freeze to death. And they ended up surviving. 16 of them survived 72 days in the top of a mountain, 72 days, and they got rescued by, I think it was the Chilean Air Force, something like that. And because 2 of them decided to go on a mountain hike and find civilization, pretty much, and they went on like a 10-day hike. Mind you that they are wearing like jeans and polos, like they don't have anything, because they're a rugby team. They're not like traveling for the winter. Some of them have never even seen the snow, and long story short, they end up surviving, but they do start eating.
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, so
how did they survive?
Yeah, they did survive because they're on top of a mountain, 0 vegetation, 0 animals, 0 anything. Obviously, you got unlimited water with all the snow. You got melted down though. Anyways, and they end up eating the people that died, and at first they were like, "That's insane," because that seems
you know what? At that point, though, it's just all survival.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
in the most respectful way possible.
So a lot of them were like, "No way, I'm doing that." But like, hunger takes over at some point, and you just life or death. Like, in that situation. And what they would do, gruesome. They would like cut off some pieces of the people. They'd like cover their face, because they were like all friends with each other. They all knew each other. They're on the same rugby team. So they would cover their faces and have like random people go out. So they kind of didn't know who they were like chopping up. Sorry, sounds gruesome. And then they would put little pieces in like a ball of snow and then just like pretty much swallow the snow, because you don't have to chew it unless you're a freak and you want to chew it. But same nutrients get in your body by not chewing it and just swallowing it. And they ended up surviving 2.5 months on the side of a mountain.
And you know the craziest part about like the fact that you're saying that is like they didn't eat all those people in one day. Like those bodies are like rotting.
No, well, that's the thing. Since it's so cold, it actually it preserved them pretty well, as morbid as that sounds. But yeah, they had to like ration out. Like, I mean, there was like probably 15 or so bodies, so I don't think they were gonna run out of meat unless they were like really eating. But like imagining like rationing out your like servings per day of human body.
Like, you get a forearm, I'll take the bicep.
Yeah. And at first they were like doing it in these little chunks, so it like wasn't as weird, or they were just like eating like the skin. And they didn't have like a fire, obviously, so they would like cut off tiny pieces and then like use the plain like metal pieces to like reflect the sun to kind of like just, I guess,
heat it up a little bit.
Not even heat it up, just like dehydrate it. Like, what is that? Like,
they're making
tanning?
jerky.
Yeah, they literally made jerky. As horrible as that is. But I was just talking with my coworkers today about how, like, I think everyone would. And there were like religious, very religious people on the plane who were just everyday churchgoers, like everyday prayer.
I mean, at that point, like, you go for survival.
Yeah. So
as bad as it sounds,
so you gotta
survive.
A group of them kind of broke off and were like, no, like there's absolutely no way that we'll do this, because like we'll be damned forever pretty much, because cannibalism, like you're already just destroying whatever. And eventually they like just do it, and they like, that's how they survive. And by the end of the 72 days they were out there, they were like kind of weren't even like trying to hide it. Like they were just like taking legs and just like gnawing off,
just gnawing on them like a dog.
Yeah. But when they went home, they kind of tried to hide it from the media, because obviously that sounds horrible if you didn't live what they went through. And then they're like doing kind of the math, or like they had like 6 chocolate bars. Like at one point they were eating shoelaces and leather belts, because they were just like, it's made out of, at least it's like,
it's something
that you're like eating. And it's something from an animal, like a leather belt. And then they were like ripping apart airplane seats, hoping to find like pieces of straw in the seats, but it was just like foam. But they would eat the foam, just like crazy. I don't even know, but yeah, it just like the human body is amazing. And the fact like we can just like like literally the fact
that you just said that kind of worries me.
No, it really is. Like the fact you can just turn off your human instincts and like become a wild animal.
Here's the thing, it's all deep down in there somewhere. Like,
oh yeah,
this is what humans have been doing for I mean, I don't know about cannibalism, but like hunting, eating meat,
the instinct for survival.
Literally surviving. It's fight or flight at that point, right?
For sure.
Either you crawl into a ball and die, or you do the unimaginable and you eat your best friend. Like,
out of this group of 4, who would be the one that goes down in the plane crash? Like 3 survive.
Yeah,
so like who's getting
in the middle of the movie, if someone knew they were gonna die, like they were just exhausted, or like they had an infection and knew they were gonna die, they would just say like, I give you permission to eat me, like literally. And then
oh my god.
And then that would kind of like,
this is on Netflix?
Yeah, and it's there's so many, it's from the 70s.
Now does it take like a like, do they have actors that like act it, or is it like fact-based? Like,
no, it's not like a documentary.
Not a documentary.
It's like an actual,
like,
it's actually done, it's actually
show.
In Spanish, but they like
voice over
it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm out at that point. Those dubbed voice.
No. At first it's annoying, but like,
you just get it.
They're like
That's like Money Heist or
yeah, or like Squid Games.
Yeah.
Like you just get used to it. So, but it is actually like such an amazing movie because it just like it's not even like a survival movie where it's like it's just crazy. Like they were hit by avalanches and their plane got reburied twice and like 4 more people each time died. Like they were just people dying around them and just crazy stuff. So I just kind of like, yeah.
Is it insane to like? Is it really insane that they didn't get found for 72 days?
So that's the thing about it. It's like, so their course of flight, like their flight path, the co-pilot who was, I don't know, at the controls, I guess, he completely got like sidetracked and didn't turn where he was, because like the Andes are so tall, they were in like a little prop plane, it like can't make it over, so you have to fly like around them,
yeah,
in the mountains. So it's like, and it was super foggy, and so he thought he was on the correct course, and so he radioed into the Chile air traffic control to like say we can start our descent into Santiago, but even the air traffic controller people didn't know like their exact location, so they just gave him the okay and said, okay, it's fine to like drop down. I think it was like 3,500 feet, because like they couldn't see anything. And by the time they dropped down, they were like on the side of a mountain and like tried pulling up, and then they like clipped
it and
their tail
right in half.
Yeah, and broke it in half, and then I'm not kidding, like slid down a steep mountain for
assuming
a long time.
In the middle of nowhere. I mean, clearly if these guys weren't found for months.
So when the flight never came and they knew they crashed, they were searching. Andes are huge, like massive mountain range, and they were searching the entire time for 8 days. That's another thing. They only searched for 8 days. Wow. And they just gave up. They were like, there's no way we can. They were just searching in the wrong area.
So how did they get found?
So 2 people on the plane, Nando and I think Romeo or something, they were kind of like the ones who the whole time they're like, I'm not dying here. Like there's no way I die here. So they made the decision to like go out and hike up, like for perspective, like the tallest mountain in the continental continuous USA is like it's like the mountain in Colorado. I don't even know. It's like 14,200 feet. Where they crashed was 12,000 feet in a valley. So the mountains that they had to climb over were like 15,000 feet, and like they were hiking in dress shoes, dress pants.
Oh my gosh.
And
they found civilization in the mountains, right?
No, so they climbed over the mountain, and then they saw that they were like way off course, because they were like, no way this is like, because they thought at first they were like on the border of Argentina and Chile.
What would go through your mind if you like just got to like a peak of a mountain? Like let's say you're in that situation and it's like you get over like thinking you're gonna find something, and they just look out. Mountains.
Yeah, they looked out and just saw only mountains.
And that gives me chills just thinking about that.
I can't imagine. You're freezing cold, almost dead.
Yeah.
They were like dead man walking, and Nando was like, there was like 2 mountains that weren't covered in snow that were like kind of deeper, like lower elevation, and so they're like, okay, there's at least like maybe a road there or like a river, and so they hiked it 10-day hike with they brought like bags of human food, like bags of food.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, are they like carrying people over there?
Like, they filled their like extra socks, and then like tied a knot and put them in their pockets of like human flesh to eat on the way.
That's homemade game bags right there.
Literally. And so they hiked down.
Hey, I got a quick question. You think they played a game of bags with those socks?
Probably. Easily, for sure.
Jeez.
And they hiked down, got to like a river, and kind of just like stayed there the night. And then they woke up to a guy on horseback who was like confused. But they were like next to a river across from each other, like a really strong torrent, whatever that word is, river, and they couldn't hear each other. And so the guy on horseback, he's like, I'll come back tomorrow.
Imagine it. The guy
said, no, they literally, and they're like,
no, what?
They're like, no, like you gotta, this isn't in the movie, but I was reading about it, and the guy was like, I'll come back tomorrow, just stay here. So he comes back with a piece of paper, and he writes down like or he like wraps it up in a rock and ties it with a string and chucks it across the river, and then they
hits
grab
one
it.
of them. He
Yeah,
passes
literally,
out.
literally.
You know what I was thinking is like the guy on horseback was probably thinking like, who are these lunatics?
No, seriously, yeah.
Just gives him the bird and dips out on
Takes
horseback.
off.
For real. And so the guys write down like, we're part of the Uruguayan flight that went down 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And everyone this whole time obviously thought they were dead.
Yeah.
Because they called the search off saying like, there's too much snow, we'll wait till the thaw so we can see it, so we can see the plane. The plane was also white, and so we can see the plane against the rocks. So they just gave up. And so then, long story short, they got down to a village. The village rescued them, and then they got in contact with like the Chilean military, and then they just rescued him with 2 helicopters. But there's like real pictures, and because the guy had a camera the whole time, so he's like taking pictures of them, like. And I looked up some like Reddit pictures, and you just see like a bunch of eaten, crazy stuff.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a wild.
Well, I know
movie,
what I'm
dog.
doing. I know what I'm doing when we get done with this
No,
podcast. I'm
seriously?
gonna go watch that show,
seriously,
Brooks.
it's insane. Like I was just the whole time just on the edge of my seat, like because it's very accurate, well done. Like I looked up how accurate everything was, and there's not like obviously maybe sometimes it's like
Sure. Just stuff that you'll put
dramatized,
into
but, like,
film. Yeah.
but even then like they went through crazy things.
So I'm guessing. I mean, after like 2 months of being away, I'm guessing these people got interviewed and like.
Oh yeah, they're like
the whole
famous.
story.
I think one of them became like some high up politician in Uruguay. Like
You know when like someone asks you like, what's your like, maybe not what's your story? Who really asks that? But like,
What's your
do
intro?
you have any like
Yeah,
the
that's-
first day of work being back? Like,
yeah,
does anyone have any fun facts?
I survived a
Well, you're gonna want to sit down.
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't. There's another documentary that I want to watch about it, and it's like I think it's 20 years after, and it like interviews them, kind of talks about like what they went through, because like when they came home, like just it kind of came back to them like, yeah, we ate people, because the media found out that they ate people because they tried hiding it, but they didn't even get in trouble obviously, because you can't really blame them. But so there's a documentary called like 20 years after, and it just like goes into detail of like how their life changed. But yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Sorry, another Brooks tangent, but
Well, you know what? I think that was a great tangent to end on, Brooks. You had me on the edge of my seat over here. That's it.
You had me
Yeah.
sweating.
I'm sweating right now.
You know what? I think we've given our good piece. I think episode 1 has been a success. I'm excited for this journey, gentlemen. I think it's going to be a long path of good podcasting, even better people. Be sure to give us that like, that follow, that
Yeah, and also
everything.
for sure, before we end here, like comment or whatever. Like if you want us to talk more, talk more about sports, or talk more about random crap, or just go on tangents like what we just did for the last 15 minutes, like just let us know what you want to hear. We really don't care. We'll switch it up. But yeah,
And while you're at it, I mean, check out the page and get yourself a free $50 at Lululemon
Seriously.
or
Oh, yeah.
Shields.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty big time giveaway.
get your girlfriend something nice.
That's right,
You know,
guys. We'll be
Valentine's
dropping
Day's-
all that information to our socials down in the links below. So be sure to check those out. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast here on the podcast page, and be sure you come back. We're going every Thursday. Every Thursday we're going live here. And again, just last little tidbit, we're going to be adding in some video here soon. You got us on voice right now, but could be seeing a little Instagram live, maybe some videos to be shown. So again, keep up with them socials, folks. It's been a great time. We got the Greenhouse Gas Podcast. We got Tauber, Brooks, Colby, and JD. That's all we got, gentlemen.
Come on
and ladies.
now.
We'll talk to you later.